one of the best players in Major League Baseball. He's been red hot for quite some time now, and that includes last year. I mean, he was the MVP of the National League. And I've been wanting to have him on the show for quite some time, so I'm glad that we can find some time prior to his team taking on the Pirates tonight. Christian Yelich here on the program. How are you, Christian?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great. All right, I'm going to get right into it here with you, Christian. What beer were you slugging next to Bakhtiari last week at the Bucks game? What was that one?
I forgot what it was. I think it was, I want to say it was a Miller Lite. They brought it to me, so I want to say it was a Miller Lite, but I was nervous to do it, so I don't really remember exactly what beer it was. I was more focused on making sure I got it all the way down and not messing up in front of all those people.
How often do you slam a beer like that, Christian?
It's definitely been a minute. I don't even remember the last time I've chugged a beer like that. So Bakhtiari obviously he put down about 4 or 5 of them, and he was and then Aaron did his in the first half, and then I saw them all at halftime, and they were telling me that I had to do one, and then I didn't really want to because I hadn't played in a few days. I was like, this might be a bad look. And then they put me on the screen with the beer, and then once that happens, there's no
turning back. There's no turning
back.
There's
one option at that point.
Now, when you said first half for Aaron, you talking about the actual beer, or are you talking about the game? What are you talking about with the half?
I guess both. Right?
What's your relationship with Aaron Rodgers, Christian?
I've gotten to know him just a little bit over the last couple, just really during the Bucks playoff run. Through there, I met him once a long time ago. You probably don't even remember it, but just got to talking a little bit at the Bucks games. They lined up with a few off days, so we were able to just go there, hang out, and cross paths a little bit.
Okay. Do people assume because you are balling out for the Brewers right now that you're a Packers fan? I mean, is that an assumption that's being made of you in Milwaukee?
The thing with Milwaukee and just sports in Wisconsin in general, you can't help but pull for the other teams just because that's just the culture up there is they're so supportive of all the sports teams, and then once you're just immersed in it, you really like when the Bucks started making their playoff run, everyone was Bucks fan. You can't help but be a fan of the other teams, and all the guys from the other sports come out and support each other. They did that during our playoff run, so it's a really cool thing to be a part of.
That said, you're from Thousand Oaks, which is now home to the Los Angeles Rams practice facility and their headquarters. Are you a fan of any particular NFL team? I don't want to get you any problems in Packers country, but which team do you root for or have?
I think, I like players. I got to know Goff through the California Strong thing. I've always liked Brady. I kind of just think it's amazing how you can be that good for that long, and the dedication and preparation it takes to play at that level for so long. And then obviously, the Packer fan and the Browns. I mean, you always root for your friends and people that you get to know throughout your life. So it's hard for me to say I have one diehard team because when I was growing up in LA, we didn't really have a team, so
right.
I wasn't born and raised on one football team. So I guess you just root for your friends to do well.
When you're talking about California Strong, you're talking about what happened in Thousand Oaks last year with the fires and the shooting that took place there as well, right, Christian? Is that what you're referring to with Goff?
Yeah. And Jared was kind enough to take some time out of his busy schedule right in the middle of their season to kind of just help us out as much as he could. And it was great to see the support that everybody gave us, and we were able to help a lot of people out, and they desperately needed it.
When was the first time you realized you were pretty damn good at baseball?
I don't know. There was different levels for me where I was like, all right, I might have a chance to play in college, probably my sophomore year of high school, and then my senior year, I was like, all right, I might be able to get drafted. We'll see. And then later in my senior year, I was like, all right, I'm probably going to get drafted. And then it wasn't really until my first year in big league camp, which was 2013, the same year I made my debut, I was like, wow, I'm actually probably going to end up playing in the big leagues. And then it takes a while for you to get adjusted to Major League Baseball. And for me, there's always been a process, and obviously last year was pretty awesome. it's just things that, it's such a humbling sport that you can't really ever think you made it or can be content with where you're at.
Yeah, I mean, it is a great way to put it, a humbling sport. I mean, even those that are in Cooperstown, on average, would get out 7 out of every 10 times, right? I mean, and I'm just wondering if you've been able to realize how it all clicked last year. What brought you to clicking last year and clicking as well as you have so far this year, Christian?
Was that after the All-Star game? You have the whole All-Star break, and then there's like a day off period, like a day before the second half starts, and I got back home and started watching some stuff about, like, I wasn't feeling great going into the All-Star break, just like at the plate and all that stuff. So I was like, all right, I want to kind of look at some things, try and get a plan for the next day for when we go into the second half, something I want to work on in the cage before batting practice and all that. And looked and decided to come back into the cage that next day, standing like a little bit taller, spread out this first half of last year. It was still a good half and made the All-Star team, but thought there was room for improvement, and I decided to stand a little bit taller and get a little bit more squared up, and it was something that I was able to repeat and put my body in a good position as many times as possible, and that's kind of just how it all started. How it started rolling.
Christian Yelich, the defending National League Most Valuable Player from the Milwaukee Brewers, here on the Rich Eisen Show. And obviously everything's working out for you in Milwaukee. You enjoy the scene there, and people are enjoying you, and obviously we're enjoying a beer at a Bucks game, and et cetera. Do you ever think about what might have been in Miami had the team not been broken up, including your being traded away, Christian?
Yeah, every now and then. I still talk to some of the guys about it, and it's something that we don't really want to just keep like looking back in time, like just going back in the yearbook. But there's definitely a lot of talent that went through there. It's sprinkled throughout the league. You can definitely see it. I mean, some of the best players in baseball right now were on that team or part of an organization before they were traded off and went their separate ways. But it's just how it works. I mean, I think we definitely had the pieces there, just didn't really all come together for us for whatever reason. And when that happens in sports, teams tend to move on, and the new ownership regime came in and, thought that was best. But my view is everything happens for a reason. It worked out great for myself. It put me in an unbelievable situation in Milwaukee. I really enjoyed it. You're never guaranteed to go to a great spot when you get traded. You don't know how it's going to work out. You don't know what the city's going to be like, the team, the guys on the team, and I was really fortunate that it couldn't have worked out any better.
So, so much is made, Christian, about the popularity of the sport nationally these days, and keeping it top of mind throughout the year, national pastime, et cetera, so on and so forth, and look at young stars like yourself. Do you have a philosophy on making baseball fun or getting out there? I appreciate a phone call into a show like this for sure. Well, obviously being the one that I'm on. Do you have a philosophy or a certain sense of responsibility in that regard, do you think, Christian?
To make it fun or just like get out there?
Get out there and make it fun at the same time, yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think you always want to give back to the game that gave you so much, and you never understand. You don't realize who you're impacting or what impact you can have on somebody's life. I mean, you don't know. I think it comes with a responsibility in the position that you're in to better the game and leave it in a better place than what you found it in. And it's starting to change as far as just guys having more fun or being more expressive or being more relatable. It's a gradual change. It's not something that's all going to happen at one time, or everyone's just going to flip a switch and the game's going to be different than it's been for a long time. But I think you can gradually see it. I think the players want it. Major League Baseball wants it, and it's headed in a good direction. Well,
I guess asking the Major League leader in home runs right now would be a perfect person to ask. What's your philosophy on bat flips? Like it? Don't like it? Shouldn't happen? Not a big deal? What are your thoughts?
I don't know. I think there's a fine line. It's like situational awareness. I don't really have a problem with it. Most of them, but it's it's hard to explain. I mean, I'm all for the having fun, flip your bat. I don't care most of the time, but there's obviously those outliers times where it definitely steps across the line, I think you could say sometimes. But my philosophy has always just been win the game, and if you do something that helps your team win the game, or it's an exciting moment, or why not have fun? Why not show some emotion? The guys aren't all robots out there. They're not just living the straight and narrow with no emotion on their face, or playing a game in a big spot. And if you do something cool in front of 50,000 people and you want to celebrate, I mean, by all means, go ahead.
And what's your philosophy, Christian Yelich, on the shift? What do you like? Don't like? Not a big deal? What do you think?
I hate it. I think it's all towards, you hate it, you said?
I do. Man, do I hate it. I want to see you. I don't want to see you bunt just because the third base line is open for you. I don't want to. I don't want to watch Christian Yelich try and, fashion a swing different than just the normal, to try and get a seeing eye base hit. That's not what I want to see.
That's why teams do it. They try and do it to eliminate slug. So if you bunt against the shift and you get a hit, in their mind, that's a win for them. Where there's no slug in that. It's just basically like a walk or a single. They'll live with that, and they want you to try and change your swing so you don't hit for power. That's mostly the premise of the shift, to take away hits to help win. But a subtle nuance that gets overlooked, I think, by the casual fan is teams do it to prevent slug, and it's just all part of the game. It goes towards winning. You kind of see that with the analytics revolution, and we're definitely one of those teams that is deep into that, and we've tried to use it. And I guess you can kind of see that in our playoff run by the way we used our pitching staff and the way we kind of try to piece things together to give ourselves an advantage against the Dodgers last year. All that stuff just geared towards trying to win and getting an edge, and people definitely have strong opinions about it.
Last one for you, Christian Yelich, before we send you off into that Pittsburgh afternoon. I'm sure you saw what happened in Houston last night, where a young girl got hit with a line drive, and Albert Almora of the Cubs was just mortified, and it was an awful moment. I'm wondering what your thought is on netting and putting that as far towards the foul pole as necessary. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's terrible whenever that happens. Unfortunately, you do see that stuff a lot over the course of the year, and at least we've got some netting now. I mean, it used to be just where it was from the on deck circle to on deck circle, and even above the dugouts and stuff were exposed, and that's just really, really dangerous, because I just don't think people realize how hard the ball is coming off the bat, and how quickly it gets on you. And obviously safety is first and foremost. You never want to see anything like what happened last night. And, I think they should extend the netting as far as they need to make it safe and allow people to, come to a game, enjoy it without having to worry about something potentially happening to themselves or to their children, or, one day you're going to a game and then, later that day you're going to the hospital because something tragic happens. It's not good for anybody. It's not good for the game. It's not good for families. So obviously safety is first and foremost.
Do players have care? I mean, is it an issue about wanting to communicate with fans through a net? I'm honestly searching for anything here that might be there.
Players don't have any. I think the majority of players would probably want to see as much netting as possible, and for fans to be as safe as possible. I think some of the pushback is that those are the best seats. People want to have a view, but I don't think the netting makes too big of a difference as far as being able to watch the game. But I think players are all in favor of it. Nobody wants to hit a foul ball into the stands and see it hit somebody or injure somebody. That's just terrible. It's terrible to see. It's terrible if you're the one that hit the ball like Albert was last night. And I think almost every major league player would be in favor of as much netting as possible.
Well, Christian, thanks for the call, man. I really love the way you play the game. I'm a fan, and I got a text during this conversation from Alex Bregman saying, "Tell him El Animal and the Caballo say hello."
Yeah, Tim and Marisnik, they got a little group text going.
Okay.
You know, Bregman. Every time Bregman hits a homer, he lets me know that he's coming for me, and he refers to himself as Caballo, and El Animal is Jake Marisnik. So,
Okay.
I don't know how they gave themselves those nicknames.
Oh.
I never really asked, but I guess you have to have him on and have him, go in depth on his nickname choice.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, are you allowed to call yourself the Caballo or El Animal? That doesn't sound like you really should be doing something like that.
I don't know, man. I don't know what they got going over there in Houston. We play them actually in a couple weeks. I'll have to see what's up with that. But they're two good friends. It's fun banter during the season where
okay,
if somebody goes deep, they're talking trash in a group text. So
okay. Who else? Do you mind if who else is on this group text, Christian?
Just that. It's just myself, Marisnik, and Bregman.
Okay. Well, the Caballo hit a couple just a couple nights ago, so I guess
He let me know. He let me know too.
He's that object closer in your rear view mirror. Let's put it that way. Christian, thanks again for the call. Hopefully, we'll do this again real soon.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
You got it. That's Christian Yelich.
For more of The Rich Eisen Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV for free on BR Live or download the Rich Eisen Show app.